Welcome to Parenting Your Sensitive Child. Parenting a highly sensitive child can feel overwhelming, and all the parenting books in the world can only get you so far if your head and your heart are out of alignment with your child's. I'm your host, Julia McGarry. Let's create a new parenting paradigm. Hey y'all, welcome to episode 79. It's January. We made it to 2023. And I want to take a moment here as we move into the new year, especially if the holiday season has been a bit bumpier than you had hoped, to encourage you to book a consultation with me. When you do, we get a whole hour together to look at where you are right now, where you'd like to be, and what the steps are to get there. And yes, it is the first step in working with me as a coach, but I want to encourage you to look at it as part of your decision-making process. This is the place to talk through any concerns you might have, whether they're about the time commitment, the financial commitment, or just the personal commitment. If you want to do it, but you're just not sure how you'll do it, I want you to know that's totally normal. That's why I offer these calls. And if you're already all in for coaching, you know it, and you just haven't signed up yet, let's do this. Pause the podcast, go to partneredpath.com, and click on coaching. Choose a time. That's it. No questions to answer. We'll talk through all of it on the call. All right. Let's get into today's topic, evaluation. Since it's January 3rd, as I'm recording this, I know that a lot of you have been reflecting on the past year and thinking about changes you'd like to make. Reflection is something that's strongly encouraged this time of year. We're encouraged to look back on all that we did or didn't do and decide what we'd like to do next. It can stir up a lot of emotions: pride, joy, regret, determination. And it's usually from those emotions that we set our intentions for the next year. I want to offer you a slightly different approach. One that you can carry with you throughout the year. I kind of like to think of it as an elevated approach. I want to encourage you to go from reflection and step it up to evaluation. They sound pretty similar, right? If anything, I think evaluation, culturally maybe, has more of a negative connotation. Many people hear evaluation and think of like formal testing or school. The distinction I want to draw, though, is this. Reflection is the first step in the evaluation process, but evaluation goes above and beyond reflection, allowing you to look objectively at what is working for you, what is working for your family, what isn't, and what you're going to change. Evaluation occurs after you have reflected on a situation and processed the emotions that went with it. So really, it's a three-part process. Let's actually look at those three pieces of the evaluation process. Let's consider those three steps in context. All right? You can apply this to your end-of-year reflection, but it's something I strongly encourage you to integrate into your day-to-day life. Whenever you have a challenging day with your child, reflect, process those emotions, feel those feelings, and then evaluate how things actually went from a neutral place. Okay, so if we're going to look at it in context, let's keep it simple, let's keep it relatable, and look at bedtime. Let's say that bedtime has been rough lately. Your child seems like they're stretching it out as long as they possibly can. They run and hide when you ask them to go brush their teeth. And when they do make it to the bathroom, they stand in front of the mirror and do a little dance that seems to go on and on and on. Want to ask me how I know? Anyway, you try to be patient, but you get increasingly frustrated until you find yourself raising your voice as their resistance grows even stronger. And then eventually you just snap, whatever that looks like for you. And then they're crying and you're apologizing, and by the time they actually get into bed, it's even later than it would have been if you just let them finish that dance they were doing in front of the mirror. And once they're actually in bed and you have some space to think through what just happened, then you're ready for the first step. And it is indeed a variation on reflection. But I want to encourage you to reflect on what you were feeling and what you were thinking as everything was happening at bedtime. Grab a pen, grab some paper, and write out all the thoughts. This shouldn't be too hard. Don't put too much emphasis on this, right? Just start writing down everything you can think of that was going through your head. Might be things like, this shouldn't be so hard. They know the routine. They should understand that this would all be so much easier if they just get it over with. And then, once you've gotten all those thoughts down on paper, put your pen down and turn your attention to what you're feeling. Maybe it's frustration. That's easy enough to identify. But we're going to take this from reflection to actually processing those feelings. So don't just stop at naming the emotion. Take the time to close your eyes and turn your attention inward. How does this feeling show up in your body? Does it feel like tightness, heaviness, clenching? Does it have a color or a shape or a temperature? Where does it show up? Your stomach? Your chest? Your shoulders? Get really curious. Stay with the feelings in your body and just watch them. You might try breathing into the area where you're holding them and just observing. Do they maintain the same qualities as you watch?